All right, it's time to air some dirty laundry. How did Tiny and Nate screw up real estate? Well, that's a little bit clickbaity because there is a happy ending, right?
Sort of.
We'll see.
Or is there?
Will there be a happy ending? We shall see.
It's the Tiny and Nate Show. I'm Tiny.
And I'm Nate, here to help you create time and money freedom through real estate investing,
so that you can live a life full of impact and joy. All right.
Tiny.
This is going to be a good one. What's up, Nate? You ready to go?
Good. Yeah, I loved your idea for this show to document our journey, even the mistakes. It's a lot harder for people usually to document their mistakes, but why did you think it would be important to document this?
Well, there's just so much. There's a ton of content on like, hey, this was awesome. I made $1 million. Look at me. And there's not a whole lot of like, hey, that really sucked and could have been awful. I just think like while we didn't die and we actually avoided a huge disaster, I would like to share the process, the nitty gritty. If someone's trying to vet a deal and see like, hey, I found this on whatever, and I'm going through this process, you're gonna go through this process more times than not, and it's going to go, hey, that's not actually a deal. That looked like a deal. The numbers look like they penciled, but look what we found. And so I just wanted to show, like, since we did this literally last week, I wanted to show folks like, hey, this is what it looks like. This is what we learned. And here's what maybe you could avoid, or, what we're going to change in the future or not change. And
yeah, absolutely.
That's
and honestly, I think when you say change, I think that's great. I think it is true, but I think there's also a piece of building any business, especially a young business, where you won't know all the things to avoid, and therefore just simply observing. And that's one of the things I was excited about for this podcast, is to document it together, like to have the dialogue, to go, what did we actually learn from this, and what will we actually take away that will solidify it for future decision making, don't you think?
For sure. Yeah, it's going to be going to be therapeutic for everyone.
It'll be therapeutic for us, at least, if for no one else that's watching. Right. So we've been buying flips, we've been wholesaling properties, land, things that need work, things that don't need work. We've also been buying small multifamily, and we've been networking with a lot of agents because we're trying. We have more hunger than one agent can help. So we let a lot of agents know what we're looking for, and then we try and create meaningful partnerships with those agents. One of those agents was a gal named Sandy who freaking moved out of the Pacific Northwest all the way to Texas, your state of birth. Right. Yeah,
that's right. Go Texas. That's right. Yep.
Go Texas. So she's down there in Texas, and she starts sending us multifamily property because she knows we're looking for some of those, and we had tried to do a deal with her up in Washington already. So she's a go-getter. She's a fireball. I love her. She's the best. And so she sent us this deal. I can bring up a slide of it here if you want to see some of the houses here.
Oh, baby.
And here's the thing. Up in the Pacific Northwest, like the average price of a house north of Seattle is something like $600,000 or $700,000 right now, as we stand here in the middle of 2022.
Yep.
And this was 17 houses in Killeen, Texas, for $650,000.
Yes, it is.
So
they're petite houses. They're little baby houses, but they're all two. I think they're all 2-1s. But I mean, great affordable living. It's close to the base, and there's a big need in that community for affordable housing for renters.
That's right.
So it has a lot going for it. I'm excited to reveal kind of what we found as we went through the due diligence process that any investor needs to get really good at doing.
Right. So my thing was, hey, $38,000 per house, that's unheard of. Even if they needed work, surely if you were looking for a buy and hold to add to your portfolio, you could figure out a way to make that purchase price make a lot of sense from the cash flow perspective, right? Meaning whatever we have to put in to buy it, rehab it, and then get it rented, whatever that monthly payment is, whatever that monthly mortgage is, surely with 17 properties, you could, have some very good cash flow. And that was the intention of why I pursued it and put it under contract with Sandy helping us out. And so I'm going to show you some of the math on that. But what were some of your first thoughts when I brought you the deal and said $650,000, 17 houses, $200,000 renovation in Killeen, Texas? What were some of your thoughts?
Well, Colleen, I was just like, wow, that's far away. Holy cow. And that's a big jump from us. You know, it's not like we have 100 doors and it's like, oh, yeah, 17 house project. That'd be a good one for us. It was like very few to like 17. It's just like, that's a big jump. Okay, sweet. That would be awesome. The numbers that you're about to go over were so high that I was kind of like, is that even real? Is that possible? That's pretty incredible. The the thing in the back of my head, like, and just for everyone's knowledge, you know, between Nate and I, you know, I'm the brakes, he's the gas. Like, he keeps us from stalling out. I make sure we don't run off a cliff. And so, you know, I'm constantly like assessing threat and danger and risk, and like that side of us, of our one functional brain. And so I was like, what am I missing here? Like, this sounds too good to be true. I've learned to trust that instinct. What am I not seeing?
Yeah.
Which turned out to be a good thing,
Right.
but definitely was impressed and like cautiously optimistic. Like, oh my gosh, that'd be incredible. Let me find out. You know, let me vet this. So
Yeah,
stoked that, like, wow, that's pretty amazing. To tell you what, though, the thing that made me the most excited about this deal was Sandy, not the deal. It was that we had a rock star who's on it, experienced, and for us, which I'm bringing that up for twofold. A, to just say, Sandy, you're amazing. We love you. And to say, hey, investors, have Sandys out there. Like, we work all over the Northwest and in other states that we're not going to. You got to have boots on the ground. You got to have someone who, A, you can trust, and B, has the experience and competence to like treat your money as their own. Right.
Sure.
So
absolutely.
That just made me really excited of like, wow, we have someone proactively hunting down deals for us. That's awesome. So
Right. And so the numbers that got us both excited is all about the cash flow, right? The buy price almost didn't matter. It was, okay, what is this going to cash flow once we have a mortgage on these 17 properties and have paid for the renovations? And so one of the tools you can use, if you're not using it right now, is called Rentometer, rentometer.com, rentometer.com. And you can go and you can put an address or a city. They've got a free version and a paid version, and you can find out what the average rents are in an area within a specific range. And so we've discovered that these little 2-bed 1-bath houses could probably rent between 700, 800, maybe 900 if we got them up looking really nice in this area. That's kind of what's average in that area. And so what we did is we did some quick math, and a quick shout out to Chandler David Smith. He's got this fantastic calculator. Yeah. I'll show you the numbers here in just a second. But if you guys don't follow Chandler David Smith, he's out of Idaho as well.
That's
right. He's tiny. And he is a big multifamily investor. Like, he buys apartment buildings, and he's been documenting his journey as well on YouTube. So Chandler, if you're catching this, we want to have you on and interview you. So Chandler David Smith, thank you for the rental purchase calculator. Let's take a look at it.
Yeah.
So basically, this is a free app he puts out, and you can throw in your purchase price in the top left corner there. You can add your cost to renovate next to it. And down below, you can come up with kind of what your down payment, your closing costs would be. And then you can put in other things like, what are your rents going to be? If you're charging for utilities, like if you charge your renters for trash, you can put that monthly income in. So it's basically going to come out with a calculation on the right after we put in maintenance and management and yearly utilities and additional expenses and taxes and insurance, all the things that costs. Taxes, insurance, boo. On the insurance, I'm willing, but on the taxes side, dude, by the way, I am reading a book right now. It's called Whatever Happened to Penny Candy. We will do an episode and we'll go over it. It's about inflation, recession, and it is about, our great grandparents used to buy candy for a penny, right?
Sure. They used to do a lot of things that we don't do anymore. Yeah. Inflation's kind of like actually 15 to 25%, not 8%. But yes, I look forward to that episode.
Oh, it's going to be so good.
Super depressed.
Yeah, you'll also be depressed for sure. So basically, when you run the calculation with CDS's calculator here, you come out with a couple of numbers that are really important for making decisions on purchasing multifamily and small multifamily. So as a quick example breakdown, if we had bought this deal for $650 and put $200,000 into it to rehab it, we would have had a total capital required if you if we got a mortgage or a hard money loan of about $167,000 in. Oops, that's not right. That's a little bit off, but we'll go with it for right now.
Sure.
And the idea is, what's your net operating income? So if you get all 17 units up to market rents, you should be pulling in right around $135,000 a year. Your debt service is about $32,000 a year in this example. What that means is, in that first year, your cash on cash return, which is a calculation that basically says of how much money I put in that first year, what percentage am I getting back? Kind of like looking at the stock market. Hey, am I making 12% on my stocks? Well, in this example, it would have been right around a 61% cash on cash return. You and I won't look at stuff unless it has a minimum 10% cash on cash return. So when we saw those numbers and a cap rate of 20, we're going, wow, there's some serious value add that we could create in these properties, because a lot of them are not rented, a lot of them aren't renovated, and a lot of them aren't at market average rents. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And just, if anyone who's seeing that, who's done this before, a 60% cash on cash return is like, I don't know. That's like filling up your tank and then being able to go to Mars. Like that's pretty amazing. That's incredible. So, good, I would say good is under 10%. What we strive for is 10% ish. And then, anything over that's just like fantastic. So 60% was like, wait, what? Really?
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
Incredible.
So another way of thinking of this is, if we had got this property stabilized, we would have brought in $103,000 of annual cash flow over and above all the costs to own it, from management, taxes, insurance, all of that stuff, the cash flow of over and above. And so that just seemed like a safe investment at first glance, that we were excited to go ahead and put under contract and do our due diligence. So what happened when we got it under contract?
What happened next? How do we screw this up? So basically, the baton passes in the way we have it set up. I don't know how anybody watching this has it done. If you're doing it by yourself, you're doing it all. That's a lot. We kind of share the roles. And so when Nathan gets something under contract, then it's my job to start the due diligence process and open title and escrow and handle all those like details. So then I think I have a couple slides, and you can show them here in a little bit. But basically, then I go into not that one, not that one yet. Don't show that one.
Oh, not that one yet. Okay, sorry, my bad.
So then I basically go into like the county. This is in Bell County. Killeen, Texas is in Bell County, and so I went to the Bell County CAD system, which includes their GIS, or basically it's the way to look up the county data and information on a specific property. So it's going to tell you, hey, how many parcels is this? What the parcel numbers are? You need that for title, what the legal description, all those details that any investor is going to have to look up and know, right? So that's when you start digging for skeletons and dirty laundry and, hey, what's going on with this property? Why is someone trying to, sell it? What might they not want me to know? Now, this is the unsexy side of real estate investment. This is like real talk. This was a day of talking to people in municipalities, getting stuck on phone trees, waiting on hold, confusing people at the county, going, let me connect you to the right person. That happened like 4 times. No one knew what I was talking about. Then I finally got a hold of the city. Those folks in the planning department were great. Once I found the right person, then, so-and-so's on vacation. They'll be back on Tuesday. Time is ticking. So it's like, okay, who else can I talk to? So just to encourage and let everybody know, like, you got to go through these steps to find the answers. You can't just go with your gut or like, it's going to be okay. It's like, you got to take the time to answer all those questions. And here, let me see. I've got a list of questions here that I thought it was worth sharing. But it's
questions you can ask at the county level, or
just things to go over when we were vetting this deal. And now, of course, I can't find it. But it was, here we go.
What's one of them top of your mind?
Yeah. Inspection. So we needed to schedule an inspection. So an inspection for 17 units, 8 of which were rented at the time. That's a bit of logistics. so and I have an actual logistics background. That's what I went to school for. And so there's a lot of little details in project management involved in real estate investing. And so if you're not a detailed person, make sure you have somebody like that on your team who can get all this stuff scheduled out. Having Sandy there on the ground was amazing. She handled a lot of this for us. So I was like, okay,
That's right.
Never been in this market. Who are we going to find that we can trust that we're not going to pay exorbitantly to get these inspections done in a timely manner? Property management company. In order for this to work, we don't live 2,300 miles away in Texas. We need someone, like if this deal is going to be viable for us, we got to identify quickly who's going to manage the property. Contractor, we need to get quotes. We need to get started on that process of like, what's it gonna cost to flip these things? If we schedule a budget for 10 grand per unit on average, is that enough? I need to start getting quotes. I need to start interviewing contractors. Photos, I need to get actual updated photos. So who's going to do that? When's it going to happen? Coordinating those details. Verifying the rent ceiling. We have an idea based on that calculator and that website, but I need actual boots on the ground saying, yeah.
Rentometer.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is a guess, or actually, no, the ones across the street are 650. No way you're getting 950. Not going to happen.
Right.
These are all details that go into vetting a real estate deal, right? So like what I'm looking for in all those answers is a deal killer. And I found that. So long story short, I'll go through.
What was it?
What was
deal
it?
Killer.
That's right. So you covered that. I'm going to go through. Yep. So this was like just some of the slides from Belcad. What I found out was right here. I don't know if you can see you probably can't, but kind of in the middle to the right, year built. Found out this was actually built in 1923. The whole thing was built in 1923. 100 years old. Yeah, 99 years old. And it's like, okay, we originally thought, based on our conversations with the seller or whatever, that it was made in the 60s. From a code standpoint, the kind of electrical they use, the building materials and construction methods, huge change in that 40 years. So bringing stuff up to current day code, massive difference. So that translates into dollars spent, right? Also,
correct.
Do you see this one red thing right here? That's the parcel number. Oh, you can't see what I'm talking about. So in the middle of the screen, there's a little dot, and there's like this string of little blocks. Those are all the units, right?
Okay.
Do you notice how they're not
zoom it up a little bit?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Gotcha.
So there's in the middle of the screen, there's a little dot. Look at the red number to the left of that. That says 12475. That's all one parcel.
I'm with you.
Now,
got it.
Rabbit trail on finance. When it comes to grabbing hard money for this, if you're not just going to pull out 650 grand from your bank, if you're grabbing hard money for it or whatever your financing is, if it's one parcel, this is something we learned in this process. That is going to require a commercial loan, which different rates, longer timeline, different things you have to go through, aka an appraisal, an official appraisal, versus if it was chopped up 4 units per parcel. Okay. So this isn't bad. This is just good learning lesson. This
4 units or less.
4 units or less per parcel.
Could be a lot easier to get hard money on because it's like small multi.
It's residential
or residential, versus a commercial.
You could get multiple. Exactly. So there's just the learning lessons involved in this were really valuable. But we didn't know that going in. So it's like, okay, but we didn't let our lack of knowledge stop us from moving forward. What we did do is we said, hey, before we pay thousands of dollars for inspections and earnest money and all these other things, which would have been a lot on this deal, let's make sure there's nothing that's going to kill this outright. And so that's what I got aggressive about right up front. So the significance of that blue dot, or of that dot in that deep blue, that is not just a flood zone. It's like it's gonna flood. So if
you're gonna get wet.
You're gonna get wet.
The way you put it to me was, you're gonna get wet.
You're gonna get wet. So basically, from an insurance standpoint, that's a nightmare. Okay, so try to insure a string of houses from the 1920s. In a flood, what do you call it? It was like a flood area. It wasn't even a flood zone.
Channel?
Yeah. Basically, you're going to get wet. So that was
Not a
that was
plane,
yeah,
not
no.
a flood risk.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so the light blue, no, I think the yellow is plain. The light blue's a flood zone. The dark blue is no go. Like, so here's the other thing. The reason I bring this up, this this blue, deep blue section on a national
Yeah.
level qualifies you for the like the FEMA restrictions of what you can invest in a property. That restricts you to
FEMA restrictions.
which, I mean, we didn't know any of this crap. Like, this is such detailed stuff. You learn it as you go. That restriction said, oh, I do have a slide for this. Hang on, let me show you that. So
Yeah.
here, oh, right there. So at the bottom of the screen,
Okay.
rehab budget limitation. What the FEMA regulation says is that if it's in that level of flood zone area, you cannot do a rehab that exceeds 50% of its assessed current value, not its after repair value, its current value. Okay, so
Current value.
right here, right here, the market value as its taxable assessed value is 172, almost $173,000. That means we couldn't put more than 86 grand into this entire project from a rehab standpoint. And our budget, if you remember, was 200,000. Okay.
Right.
So that right there is a deal killer.
Yep.
That was what stopped the whole shooting match. Was right there. It was like, something that made sense was when we had looked through this, we'd seen some photos, and we saw that that about half of the units had been renovated. That's it. That's why. So that is what we found out. So what you can do it, you can go over 50%, but if you do that, you have to bring everything up to modern day code, aka you have to jack up each one of those houses feet into the air to get them out of the flood area, which would, I mean, kill your profit for years. So long story short, that was the process that we went through that I just wanted to share with everybody of like, you know, there's no way we could have known all these things before, but you just jump in and start answering questions. You start with, hey, what do I need to know? What details am I going to have to iron out to run this successfully? Because this is a business, right? Each rental property is its own little business. Who's going to do it? What's going to kill this deal? What's going to keep this from being profitable? How much is actually going to cost to fix up? How much can I get cash flow wise when it's fixed up? All those things had to get answered. And so in that process, we found, hey, we can't even get this thing off the ground because when the city goes to give us a permit, they're going to make us show them, here's the quote for the, and if it added up to more than 86 grand, we're toast. And it would, like, they needed roofs. You saw from those pictures, it needed work.
Absolutely. It needed a lot of work.
Woo-wee. Yeah. I felt like I talked a lot, but that's kind of the point. So hopefully that was helpful in showing you the process we went through of figuring out, is this a deal or no deal? And for us,
or no deal.
For our comfort level, for our experience level, what we found was enough to make us go, we're going to wait. We're going to say no to this one and look for a different one. Doesn't mean it's not a bad deal. I'm not slandering that deal. Could be awesome for somebody. It's just not for us. So
that's right. Absolutely. And talking with other investors, our partner Derek, one of the other things that I learned along the way is a lot of investors, once something's hit LoopNet, they're looking at it with a little slanted eyes going, what's going on there? So that's another national platform. So I think this one had hit that platform. So it was a good learning lesson, a ton learned there. In your mind, what would you take away from this for future deals?
I would probably start with that sooner. Like before I start looking into scheduling inspectors or property management companies or contractors, I would probably look it up first. And so something that didn't trigger in my mind is when I first looked at some of these photos, I was like, oh, cool, there's a creek behind here. That'd be fun to play in. I like water. I like nature. I was like, oh, that'd be cool. I didn't think as an investor, water equals liability. Water equals flood hazard. That's something that's changed in my mind, is identifying risks early and upfront and not just kind of being so like, oh, isn't this cool? This could be fun. Just going all business real fast and going, what am I seeing that's going to ruin, profit margin? Sorry, can you still hear me? Can you hear me anymore?
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, you're
I
good.
don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Oh my goodness.
Did his phone probably grabbed his Bluetooth headphones, guys. This is the beauty
technical
of the
difficulties.
modern.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Did your phone jack your headphones?
My phone did. Sorry, hold on. Something is freaking out.
No big deal. We're just live on international YouTube TV.
I'm sorry. I'd pause it if I can. There we go. Okay, gosh, that was
This
terrifying.
would never happen on ABC News, I'm sure.
I'm sure this stuff actually does happen. It's my headphones are connected to everything, and so screw it.
I know.
I don't know what you could hear last, but basically the idea was be more cold-blooded, more business-like when I start looking at a potential investment and identifying risk early and upfront before I spend my time doing things that come later. You don't need to set up an inspection if it's in a flood area. You don't need to set up a contractor or a property management company interview if you can't build on it because of rehab restrictions, because of FEMA stuff. Like you just, so I'm going to look for those
Order of
things
operations.
earlier. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Order of operations. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that's what I would change. Well, that's what I will change.
Nice.
So it was a great learning experience, and I would say it happened relatively quickly. Like we didn't drag that on for weeks, and we did it in a way that I think everyone, including Sandy, was like, "Yep, this makes perfect sense." I definitely agree. So,
okay. Yeah. Well, here's the cool thing. Again, every closed door is an open window, or is it every open window is a closed door? I can't remember, but let's close this door and open a window, shall we? Yeah. I know I need to open a window in here.
This deal stinks. Let's open a window. Yeah.
No, but Sandy's already sent me five additional deals. They are potential cash flowing mobile home parks. So we'll take a look at those. But we will reverse some of our order of operations on those the first time around. Good. Awesome. Thank you, Tiny.
Love it. Yeah, my pleasure. We'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.
See you on the next one.